Well, hey, North Park Community Church, Pastor Luke here with another episode of First Looks, and we will be wrapping up our series that we've called Love Letters, because love is just a dominant theme in all of the writings of the Apostle John. Maybe less explicit in the book of Revelation, certainly implicit, and that we see Christ's operations in his second coming as an ultimate expression of love. But certainly the word love is characteristic of John's writings in the Gospel of John, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And so our love letter series now concludes with that last letter, 3rd John. Now I'm going to be a little briefer today as we go through this from what I normally am. And we're just going to kind of breeze through this, just hopefully making some helpful comments and observations about the text to still prepare your mind a little bit and your heart a little bit for the sermon that's coming. So let's just go ahead and with that dive on in. So just first comment here that I would make, the elder. So we would say, see 2nd John, same title. Now, where 2nd John is written to the elect lady and her children, again, I took the interpretation of that being a reference to a particular home church, which may have been the home of a particular lady, but I do see the children certainly as reference to a congregation. This, however, is written to beloved Gaius. And so, again, let's just take note. Beloved. John loves to spread love, the love of Jesus. Now, Gaius, this right here is maybe it's I'm trying to think of a helpful updated version of this. I was going to use the name John, but John is the apostle here, and I don't want to be confusing. So maybe we just like Mike. All right. So this is a super common name, and I just highlight that because we have 3 different Gaiuses that show up in the New Testament apart from this one, and we don't have any other indication about who this Gaius is. And so to try to tag this one to one of the Gaiuses referenced in Acts or something like that, that'd probably be making an assertion that we can't really say very confidently, and really it doesn't make too much of a difference. What we need to know about this Gaius, John shares with us in his letter to him. Now, notice this here. Again, we got I love in the truth. Now, I'm going to say again, see 2nd John here. Both of these letters carry very similar heartbeats, even though it becomes very evident that John is addressing two different issues. And so here we go. Beloved, here's the introduction, and this is typical letter intro in 1st century. In the 1st century context of this is just very standard, even outside of the writings, the letters of the New Testament. This would have been just a very common way. He says, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health. Now this right here is very common start to pray for one's good health. However, John goes further than that. while he does pray for the good health of Gaius, his recipient, he compares it to as it goes well with your soul. So more important even than the health is the soul. John recognizes that Gaius has a healthy soul, and his prayer is that Gaius's physical body would match the healthy quality of his internal life. And there's something to be said for that. There's a note to be made on that, of how we think about just the health of a person in general. I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. Once again, we see just more parallels with 2 John in the way that he addresses his people. He's very consistent in this. He says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. Okay. Again, 2 John. Now, here's an additional comment that I just want to make. And this is characteristic of John to use familial terms to maybe for church. And we would say, see First John all over the place. So these, again, all these letters, they bear the same fingerprint of the same author. Now here's another point that I want to make here. No greater joy. Gospel of John. Jesus came to bring joy in full. So Jesus says in John's gospel, I have come to bring you joy and that your joy might be full. And now John says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. And so what we got is this concept of joy is going to be a big deal. This is a big deal in the letter. We'll need to flesh it out. It will probably be a central point of my message, the expansion on that. Because flowing from here now, we have three different vignettes, portraits, caricatures of three different people. So we have Gaius, who gets expanded on. Let me get different color here. Let's go with nice orange. So we have Gaius. Down a little further, we have Diotrephes. And then down a little bit further, we have Demetrius. So first, we learn a little bit more about Gaius. Beloved, it is a faithful thing that you do in all your efforts for these brothers, strangers as they are, who testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God, for they have gone out of this for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore, we ought to support people like these, that they may be fellow workers of the truth. Okay, so truth there. And just maybe some comments. So 2 John warns against supporting deceivers. 3 John commends supporting missionaries. They were itinerant, traveling pastors, teachers, supporting, we'll use missionary, but little different context from what we maybe currently think of it. And that's what Gaius does. You do well to send them on their journey. In how does he do that? A manner worthy of God. This is Gaius's hospitality. And what does it do? It brings about testifying. The people are testifying of Gaius's character. He loves in such a way that the people talk about it because they've been so blessed by it. Now these guys, it's also maybe noteworthy to show that these guys accept nothing from the Gentiles so as to not be regarded as money seekers. Peddlers of the truth, guys just coming around with some new teaching, looking to make a dime. Suffice it to say, these guys are not prosperity preachers, right? And so they refuse to take support from the Gentiles. Even Paul says, "I refuse to take support from the churches that he planted at first because he didn't want them to think that he was in it for the money." And that Gaius, he sees these guys who refuse to take support from Gentiles, and that means that they go with a lack much of the time. But when you get to Gaius's house, you are blessed. You are blessed by it. His love pours forth in generosity and hospitality, and it is a praiseworthy thing. That's Gaius. All right, next guy. I've written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who, what's he like? Who likes to put himself first. And let me just make the comment that this is the antithesis of love, which is, again, a really important thing to John about what the Christian life is like and supposed to be. All right. He does not acknowledge our authority, and that is apostolic in nature. And this right here is this is never good. This is lack of humility. This is power hungry. This is damaging to the church. This is detrimental to the health of a church when leadership looks like Diotrephes. And there are just far too many stories in the American church of Diotrephes who do not acknowledge any authority structure that would be above them, and who functionally labor to exalt themselves. And so John says, if I come, I'll bring up what he is doing, talking wicked nonsense against us. That's what he's doing. maybe just let me put in here. When power is at risk, these people attack and slander others. And not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers. Okay, that's another thing here, is that he is the opposite of Gaius. Not only does he refuse to welcome the brothers, he also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church. And what's that look like? Goodness, this is just really bad. If you disagree with Diotrephes, you are kicked out. Terrible leadership. Terrible example of the way of Jesus. Again, plenty of stories of modern day pastors to share. Okay. Beloved, do not imitate evil, but imitate good. Whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. Demetrius, he has received a good testimony from everyone. And from the truth itself, this is probably saying the gospel he preaches is evidenced in his life. He walks what he talks. And we add also our testimony, and you know that our testimony is true. So this is to those who acknowledge John's authority. Again, contrary to Diotrephes. And so there's actually been a note by some of the threefold witness here, which is something that shows up in 1 John, where you have the water, the blood, and the spirit that all testify to Jesus. And we talked about how when three agree, it's evidence in court. And so he's received a good testimony from everyone, from the truth, and from our testimony. So in that, there might be something that he's doing here of giving the 1, 2, 3, the threefold witness of his testimony, which is just this beautiful, commendable testimony that Demetrius, he lives for the good of others. He orders and lives his life for good of others. Yeah. I had much to write to you, but I'd rather not write with pen and ink. You know what I'm gonna say. See 2 John the same way. I hope to see you soon, that we could talk face to face. Same thing right there. Peace be with you. The friends greet you. Greet the friends, each by name. Each by name. There's personal, relational, community of love here. And it's beautiful. That's what the church is supposed to be and to look like. Well, I'm going to enjoy preaching this one. I think even though we have Diotrephes as a negative, I think the beautiful example of Gaius and Demetrius will make this a really enjoyable message to preach. Well, I hope that this is helpful. I love you, church, and I will see you in a couple days. God bless.